So my name is Diego Diaz from Los Angeles, 23 years old, founder of a web design studio called Ammo. We usually are working with B2B SaaS companies and enterprises on making brands and websites. And before that, I have failed dramatically a lot.
I know what you mean, man. Welcome back to the Failed Podcast. I'm here with my good friend Diego Diaz. He's the founder and CEO of Ammo Agency, according to Business Insider, making $57,000 a month. But recently, it's looking better than that, according to your tweet, man. Which I'm excited, and I'm excited for you. I'm excited just for everything. And believe it or not, this is actually my first podcast online. So bear with me, bro. I'm learning, and and like I said, I'm very grateful for you to be here. I don't know if you are, but I'm actually a sneakerhead, so I always tell people what I'm wearing. Today is the 10th year anniversary of the Roshi run, so I'm wearing the Calypso colorway. For those of you listening, are you a sneakerhead or ever dabbled into it or anything like that?
Nah, just growing up, I never had any type of money, so I never got into
Oh, for
shoes and
real?
stuff because I couldn't afford them
Dude,
anyways.
you have a very interesting story, and that's why I'm very excited to have you in the podcast. You're doing this, and if you don't mind, do you mind telling us your age?
Yeah, 23.
23 years old, dude. Like, I just thought about this recently before I interviewed you. Like, you would have been one of my students. I've been teaching that long, bro. I've been
Yeah.
teaching since 2012, and you would have been one of my students. And we're gonna dive into your story. Let me ask you this: in high school, which was not that long ago, were
Yeah.
you good at high school? Were you successful in high school? Was it fun for you?
It was fun, but I was definitely not a good student at all. I graduated with a 1.8 GPA.
Oh,
And yeah, basically had straight D's senior year, almost didn't graduate. Luckily, my teachers, or most of them, liked me enough to change my F to a D, or else I probably wouldn't have graduated.
after high school, I mean, we're talking really, you're 23-year-old founder, CEO, Ammo Agency, making good money. What led you up to this? Like, tell us the story. I mean, in high school, like you said, did you go to college for it, or what happened?
Yeah. So basically, after high school, I really didn't do anything. I think I was working at a couple different jobs. And that's really what it was. Like, it was nothing exciting at all after high school. It was just really, dead end job to dead end job. Working at fast food places. I was a busboy. Um, I was a security guard, Amazon delivery driver helper. Basically, the extra large packages. So basically anywhere from 50 to like 300 pounds. We were delivering those. And tried a couple businesses, didn't work out. Resorted to, when there was one summer where I was going hard on flipping stuff with my brother. Um, that was the only way I was able to make some money at that time. And then, yeah, just, really bad jobs. And I started teaching myself web development during the graveyard shifts as a security guard. So I didn't go to school for it. I went to college for like 3 weeks and then I, dropped out. And yeah, I mean, I just taught myself through Webflow University, which is like that their courses and stuff, tutorials. Um, and Webflow is the platform that I use for development. And then just, practicing, and that's pretty much how I learned.
And what year? I mean, when did this start happening? So you're saying you started delivering, and you didn't really go to college for it. When did this happen? What had got you actually into the World Wide Web, in a
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. So I graduated high school in 2017. And then I was a security guard in 2020. And that's when I was having my graveyard shifts. And then I came across an ad for Webflow on YouTube or something. And then I just started diving into it. I was trying to teach myself how to code for a while. Never worked out really. And so when I saw that you're able to build websites and stuff like that without needing to write code, it intrigued me. And so I started diving into it, getting involved in I found a no code community on Twitter, which are just people who, use or enjoy the tools that are coming out that you can build software, websites, mobile apps, automations, stuff without needing to code. And then, yeah, so that was in 2020. I didn't really do much with it. I was still working, security. And then after I started working at Amazon, until 2021, I also got a role as like a social media manager, um, which wasn't, paying well at all. It was like full time, and I think I was paying like $2,000 a month. So I still needed my Amazon job. Um, and then, I quit both of them in 2021 February, and I started Ammo
That's crazy, man. And then I started Ammo in 2021 or ended 2020?
2021. So February
2021.
2021. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because we have a lot of young people that listen to this podcast, a lot of young adults, and a lot of them is the fear of, I guess, perfection.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: did you make sure you had everything perfected before you started Ammo Agency, or were you like, bro, forget this, perfection's overrated, I'm gonna learn along the way?
Yeah. So I was actually one of those people that try to have everything kind of perfect in the beginning. Like
Mhm.
I had someone like I got like my last check for my jobs and stuff, and then I spent most of it on someone doing my website design for me because originally I was just going to do development. Um, and I just, I wasn't that great at design. And so I spent like, yeah, like most of it on that. And then I try to reach out to some people who already have an established agency and try to get some questions or answer or ask some questions to them. Um, but I learned a lot from them and then the conversations, but I learned a lot more just actually doing it. But if I was to start something now, it would definitely be a lot different. If I'm like kind of more bootstrapping it, not really putting too much investment into it, I
Mhm.
would, start scrappy and just, not try to be perfect or make it perfect. But obviously, if I have more of a budget, then I'll try to do things properly. But if it's your first business or your first like, actual business that you're trying to make successful, man, just start. A lot of people don't end up doing things just because they want it to be perfect, which is like an ego thing, and an insecurity thing. They're scared that, I think it's kind of like it's more of an insecurity thing where you're like delaying things as much as
For
possible because
sure.
you don't want to kind of fully dive in and use the excuse of needing to be perfect. So that's why you're not starting. So I would immediately stretch that out as soon as possible.
For sure, man. And I'm glad you talked about that. You said something like, about just going for it. And I think a lot of young people, that's why they're so scared to do anything, man. And a lot of young adults I talk to, they're so scared to try something, even in the world of sports too.
Yeah.
And I think of sports, I'm a basketball coach, I've got people that are like, oh man, let me learn to play basketball before we join the team. I'm like, bro, you're not gonna like, you just gotta go for it. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? You just got to get in the court because there's so many things that they can't teach you. You
yeah,
can't learn on your own. You got to just go out there and do it. And I'm glad you talked about that. And we're considered the failed podcast, and we don't like to, but we talk about failures. Let me ask
yeah.
you this: for every journey we talked about failures, what do you consider is, and you said you failed many times before you started this. What do you think was the lowest point in your life leading up to this in your journey? I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be like a childhood thing, but mainly more
Yeah.
like leading up to, your business and where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time after high school, I was, battling stuff like with depression and my health wasn't great. So that was kind of something that was, affecting me for a few years. I would say probably like an actual specific point, I didn't have a job for a little bit and I needed to borrow money from my 80-year-old grandma to pay my
Dang.
car, my bills and stuff for that month. Um, and so I don't know, to me, that really affected me.
Yeah.
Um, and then also too, just like, when I started Ammo, nothing really happened for at least 6 months. Um, like I only had like two clients in 6 months and like maybe well, it was only one that was like a decent sized project. It was like $4,000 for like, 5, 6 pages design and development. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's, for some people that's a lot, but for me, that's not anymore, for our size now. And then another one was just like hourly and that's how I was able to pay my bills for like 6 months. Um, and then finally things started taking off in August of 2021.
Now, were you at the beginning of Ammo Agency? Were you still doing security or Amazon?
No, I was just strictly ammo. And for a while I didn't really take it that seriously. I don't know. I just kind of just used it as like a side project type thing just to make some
Yeah,
money here and there. Um, but I don't know, for some reason I didn't take it seriously for a while, and then, finally, like at the end of July, I was like, all right, like I don't want to get a job again. You know, I want to, be able to continue working from home or wherever. And then I started taking it seriously, and then that's when, it's funny enough when things started working out.
that's crazy, man. That's crazy. You talked about your grandma like that and borrowing money. I know how it is, man. It's just like, you try so hard. Like I'm the type of person I want to give to my family. I want to be the one to take
Yeah,
care of them. And I bet that hurt just asking just your grandma, just because like, man, I know I got something going on here, but it's just right now it's hard. But
yeah.
I mean, let me ask you this, when was the time, I guess, was there a time where you were like, finally I was able to repay it back, and did that feel good?
Yeah. I forgot. I think it was like I finally got paid with one of my hourly projects or something, and then I was able to pay her back. But in terms of like, actually like being able to help out my family and stuff, or just like, provide them with nice things. This was the first year that I was able to actually get my mom something like nice for her birthday.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, and then like, I paid for the dinner and stuff like that. But before, man, I usually just be one of those like not freeloaders, but like just not really pay. My older brother would have to pay just because he was, the older one with money and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and it sucked because you're as I'm getting older and stuff, you start to realize like, oh, I should be at a point where I can at least like help out or something. But I just never really had that much money, and then yeah, I was able to get her some Chanel stuff, and then pay
That's
for
cool.
a nice little dinner. Um, and yeah.
What was the turning point in your life? Like, when was the turning point? You said 6 months, nothing really happened. What was the turning point in Ammo Agency, and what did you do to cause that turning point, or did something happen? Because you said you weren't taking it seriously. Did something
Yeah.
happen, or you just decided, you know what, forget this, I'm gonna go all in? What was it?
Yeah. Basically, what was it? I think it was like I don't know. I think it's something just finally clicked where I was like, all right, I don't want to go back to a regular job. I keep doing this whole cycle and stuff. Um, so I'm gonna just take it seriously. I finally finished my website, and then that was a lot easier to kind of pass around and share and stuff. And then I was also making connections with people on Twitter, and they were referring me to people or tagging me if someone tweeted they're looking for a Webflow person. And then also, luckily, or I started reaching out to people on Twitter too. I would do like keyword research, keyword targeting research, and I would look for anyone who's like searching for Webflow designers or devs, and then I'll just go and ham on that. And finally, just kind of treating it more as of a business than just like a whenever I get to it type thing. Um, even though I wasn't doing anything, I was just chilling or watching movies and stuff. It's like
Yeah,
done. And then yeah, and then things started finally, kicking in, and then that same month, I started, contracting people who were better than me, so just so that we could, get better projects or better results for our clients and stuff like that. Um, and yeah, so I guess just finally taking it more serious, actually doing some reaching out. Before, I don't know what I was doing. In those first 6 months, I wasn't really doing anything. And then yeah.
did you think you would get to this point this fast?
No, I don't know. I don't think I've really ever thought about the success I was could have with ammo. Um, just because I've never done any freelance or agency type work before in my life. So I guess I just didn't really know what was possible with it, with the kind of model, and then with websites in general. I didn't realize that people are interested in paying a certain amount, a large amount for them. Um, but it's crazy. Yeah, it takes years for a lot of people, and I've been lucky to have it where it started, happening like that within like 6 months, 7 months, and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so it's been definitely a blessing.
Let me ask you this. You talked about how you didn't know people would be willing to pay that much for like a website and stuff. I feel like that kind of, you and I mean, you live, kind of close to me. We
Yeah.
live kind of not really in a richer neighborhood. And I grew up in Long Beach, Carson, Compton area. Did that play a factor as to why it was kind of hard to charge people a certain amount?
I think it was more just like I just didn't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I didn't know that people paid so much for websites. I knew it was like something that was like obviously in demand. But every time I've heard about someone paying for a website or like local businesses and stuff, it'd be like, $500, $1,000 and stuff.
Yeah.
But then when you get to, actually start targeting larger companies, um, even the amount I charge right now is like very, very, very little compared to, what could be charging or we could be charging to like
Yeah.
bigger clients and stuff. But it takes time to get there, to organize your processes and get your team in order so that that you can handle those big projects. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of an ignorance just because I was never really in the tech world or um, agency world or anything like that before. So it's kind of just learning about it as I go.
Going back to like your high school days, you talked about how you graduated with a 1 point, what was it, 1 point something
Eight,
GPA,
yeah, yeah,
1.8 GPA. Let me ask you this. What is your, I guess, your message for a lot of kids that might be listening and thinking that they are not succeeding in high school? And also, what's your message for, being honest with you, I'm a school teacher.
yeah,
And I feel like this is something for me personally. I don't look at kids like that, but I feel like a lot of teachers battle because they look at kids that are not doing well in school and automatically think this person's not going to be successful. What's your
yeah.
message to the kids, but then also what's your message to teachers?
I would say to the kids, man, just honestly, just try to do a decent job at school. Just from the time that you're there, you don't need to go to college. But like me personally, like it was just a lot more stressful to the fact that I wasn't doing well. Stuff with my parents and like, teachers and guidance counselors and stuff like that, just unnecessary. And then that also, a lot of time can put you in bad situations. But if you're at a point like how I was, where you just really don't like school and, you're just not doing well at it, just try to do enough where you could pass at least, even if it's like straight D's, like how I did. And then once you're out of high school or even during high school, start learning some actual skills. For the thing about college is that not everyone, needs to go to college. Um, you'll be a lot better off trying to learn skills like high value skills like sales or web design development, copywriting, what else, like data analytics, something like that where
Yeah,
you can kind of teach yourself, but it's something that businesses value, people value, um, versus just going to school just to go to school. You don't even know what you want
for
to do and
sure.
stuff.
For sure.
So that's something I would recommend, and then for students or teachers, try not to, I wouldn't judge kids based on where they're at, at the same time, we were kids,
Yeah,
16, 17-year-old, 15-year-old are kids. I didn't snap out of it, until I was like 20, 21, 22.
for sure.
And it takes time, people develop at different times. Some people are, good from the jump, but sometimes it takes a couple years more for other students or other kids to, really mature and have it finally click in their head, what they need to do or what they want to do and stuff. So, yeah.
For sure. It's crazy you talk about that. I talk to my wife about this all the time. It's amazing how a lot of adults judge kids on their character now, but it's amazing how that same judgment doesn't get applied to like adults. And I told
Yeah.
my wife this. I'm like, dude, it's funny that people talk about that because kids, you could give the excuse that they're kids. Like if kids are
Mhm.
going to talk smack about you behind your back, they're probably going to grow out of it. If they're gonna
Yeah.
gossip about you, they could grow out of it. But when adults do that, bro, that's it. That's who they are. Like they're
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
gonna change. Like it's rare for adults to change. So I think, as an adult personally, I think we need to cut some kids, I guess cut them some slack, bro. I mean, they're
Yeah.
kids, they're learning through life. You know what I mean? They're just still growing, and it's amazing you talk about that. And this has helped me just talking to you and talking to somebody, one of my kids that I actually taught in high school. He didn't have good grades growing up too. And it's amazing. He graduated 2020. So
Yeah.
this is recently. And right now he's an NBA barber. So he's cutting hair of like Eric Bledsoe, soon
Nice.
probably Pascal Siakam. I mean, he's cutting NBA barbers hair and they love him as a client and he's making good money. He's content with his life. And it's amazing how, a lot of times growing up, it's like many teachers didn't think he would succeed just because of his grades.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I think it just a lot of times teachers have that, oh, I was a good student, I went to college. That's how all kids are supposed to be and stuff. And it's just not
Yeah.
like that. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, like I was a bad student. I got along with most of my teachers. They knew at the end of the day, like that they liked me and stuff. And sometimes they even told me that they'll miss me the most just because like
Oh, yeah.
I was a class clown. And that's why, usually people who are like that are having the bad grades, but I was actually funny, you know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
but other times and for different teachers, I was actually like disrespectful and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
stupid. But yeah, I mean, you get out of it, you learn, you grow up, and then, so I think, yeah, just as teachers probably just should be trying to mentor students and really try to help them out because realize that they're still very, very, very early in life, especially like emotionally and mentally and stuff. Um, and eventually they're gonna grow up and they're gonna realize that that's not how to act and stuff, and then they'll change up. So I think
Yeah.
placing these ideologies or these negativity in these kids' mind just because they're acting a certain way or they're doing certain things at that age can mess them up.
For
Some
sure.
people who are a little bit weaker will or like weaker mindset than me would probably have believed them and then not done anything with my life, um or not try to improve their life and their situation and stuff. So
For sure.
it's pretty weird that when teachers are like that with students when they're just kids.
Yeah, and it's funny you talked about how you use your humor to get out of school. It's funny
Yeah.
that the other kid, the NBA barber, I'm one of the reasons why he actually graduated because I was a basketball coach and he was a starter. So yeah, I needed him,
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, but I was also like a bunch of, I was a teacher of a bunch of his classes. So I'll be like, bro, I can't not have you play, bro. Like
Yeah, yeah.
we have to get you, and we were actually like a pretty good squad. So that's why it's
That's good.
funny, man.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: what is your next step as far as your company or in your life? Are you content where you're at right now, or you trying to go for something bigger? What do you plan to do?
Yeah, man. I have goals of, really trying to learn about business and how to run a business with ammo as it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And then eventually I want to transition into having like a holding company and acquiring companies and kind of just managing that. And then like real estate investments and stuff like that. But without ammo, I would never have been in that situation. Maybe something else, but at least not right away where I could be in a situation where I can actually achieve those things. But I'm still trying to learn about like, how to properly run a business and, doing KPIs and, managing teams and, people and stuff like that. So I'm trying to use this to learn it and then apply my learnings with, once I start acquiring other companies and growing them and stuff like that.
I saw recently in your Twitter, yeah, you
Your
put out
twit.
a tweet about you put out a tweet about like helping out like kids in not so good situation, learning different skills. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I'm very passionate about because I'm also like, as a basketball coach in like Carson and Compton, you deal with kids that are not, I had a kid 2 years or 2019, I had a kid that was homeless most of his life and he was one of my starters. And is that something that like you're passionate about helping kids that are not so well? And is there kind of like something along those lines in the future that you're planning to do?
Yeah, definitely. That's something where I really resonate with. I'm not going to say that I was homeless and stuff like that, but I definitely
Mhm.
did not have money. like at all type stuff. And then, able to change my life around. But there's not many people who, you know, are aware of these type of skills and this type of information that can
For sure.
change their lives and get them, out of those situations. So it's definitely something I want to, kind of orchestrate soon. I just got to make sure that I'm at a point where, I'm kind of good. And then so I can
Mhm.
actually, be at a point where I can take the time to make sure that these kids are getting that, learning that stuff, and then, creating that, organizations and groups and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
definitely going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's not much money when you start that. You're not
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah. People
make it
are
that much money at the
charging,
beginning.
like a couple $1,000s for like, 20 pages and stuff for a website. So
Yeah, for sure. Like if you're helping out people in the hood, you expect to just do it for free,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's rewarding, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's crazy, man. Let me ask you this. What is your definition of failure?
Um, Honestly, a lot of failure just happens when people quit too early. And that's what I
Mhm.
used to do. I used to have a lot of businesses that I tried to start, or, things I tried to do. And then it got hard and I just quit. And then, that's where you kind of fail. Um, just different ideas that could have worked, that could have made me a lot of money. But yeah, as soon as it got difficult or it got hard, and um, it wasn't like super smooth sailing anymore, then I quit. So I think, failing is just when you quit at something, or, because obviously there's different ways of going about things and thinking about it. If something's really just not working,
Mhm.
it makes sense to like either pivot or to reconsider, what you're doing. Maybe just not something that's in demand, the offer is not great, whatever the case is. But if you just straight up quit just because like it's hard, or you're not successful for a little bit, um, then that's like, yeah, I would consider that a failure versus just making an educated decision. Um, like how I mentioned before about, actually just pivoting or just reconsidering different options once you get like new information and stuff like that.
Do you mind telling us a little bit about kind of those businesses you tried out?
Yeah, sure. Um, this one's kind of a little bit funny, but so I tried to do like a phone repair little business.
Uh-huh.
And I was just, kind of watching these courses and stuff on it. And my first customer, I couldn't, like, I fixed it. I fixed it, but I couldn't put his phone back together.
Oh, dang.
Because, you have to go inside of it. And I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out how to reconnect one of the things. I forgot what it's called, but I reconnect something. And so I was there for like 4 hours at his house when he just like pressing me, getting mad, and like
Dang.
to a point. And then like we had to go to an actual phone repair shop and I had to pay for them to like close like or fix his phone. Um, and like that just traumatized me. And so I
Dang.
quit. So I quit that business. Never did it again because that was just one, it was humiliating, but then two, I was just like, oh my God, bro. Like, but he paid me for the work that I did because it
Yeah.
was supposed to be to help, he wasn't able to hear, like earpiece thing wasn't working or something. So I fixed it, but I just couldn't put the
Yeah.
phone back. And so he paid me for it still, but I was just like, I'm done with this. And, I quit all that. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. It just reminds me of for me, like I tried to do a photo booth business.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then like it's funny. I don't even know if I'll put this in the podcast. I might cut this out, but it led to my I don't know, man, but something along with my sister. And then next thing you know, I was being investigated by the FBI. So
Wow.
I just like, dude, I'm like, yo, I'm not doing this no more, bro. I baked. I was baking for a bit. Dude, I know what you mean, man. Failure, but like, dude, I've done so much businesses where it's just not working out, you know. And
Yeah.
it's funny,
Yeah.
you and I are in a different spectrum. You know, you're 23, I'm 31, but I always tell this to people, man, your time's gonna come. You know,
Yeah.
I'm talking to a guy right now. He's actually 23. The guy right now, he's just like, man, I feel like such a failure, and I'm just kind of like, bro, like, dude, you can't like, bro, just keep at it, man. Like, you know, whatever you're working on. I mean, it's time. The timing is
Yeah.
bad. That's just it. Like, you know, let me ask you this: do you think there's a little bit of, I guess, in a way, luck of what whenever somebody does well?
Um,
Maybe like timing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's definitely components of that.
Mhm.
I think a lot of time it just people aren't working hard enough. They're not
Yeah,
working
for
smart
sure.
enough. Like, right, because a lot of people work hard, but they're not working on the right things. There's a lot of people who are working on the right things, but they're not working hard enough. And then definitely some, timing and luck have a play in it. But I think for a lot of people, just they talk more than they do. Um,
Mhm.
they don't, you know, they don't want it as bad as they say they do. Type stuff. And for the people that are working hard, I commend you. I was in that situation where I was, working jobs like that. But you just got to realize that you got to work. You're working it hard at the wrong thing. You know what I mean? And then some people like I said, who are working on the right thing. Maybe they have a web design business too. There's a lot of
For
money to
sure.
be made in it, but like me, even the first 6 months, I wasn't working hard at it. So it's just like rethink what you're doing. Are you working too hard at something that's not going to make you any money because it's like a job and stuff, or you're working not hard enough at something, even though you think it can make you money. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, I got lucky too because I reached out. There's this one lady who tweeted about needing webflow help. I reached out to her. I didn't know that what company she worked for, but it came. Luckily, she was working for this really big startup that's kind of well known in the tech scene. And then that kind of helped me get a lot of leads and stuff like that once it launched and stuff.
How important do you think is networking in this field?
It's really important. There's a lot of reasons why. One, it can get you, you know, the right type of jobs that make a lot of money. It can get you clients. Um, it can get you more money just like for partnerships. There's some people that are referring me work now, and that I wouldn't have had those opportunities beforehand. Um, Credibility. A lot of times, if you're like building up your following and stuff like that, and then just like knowledge and stuff and information. There's a lot of people are broke just because they don't have the right information. Not that
Mhm.
even though I was mentioning not working hard and not working smart and stuff like that. Like I said, there's a lot of people who work hard, but they just don't have the right information. They're not
For
working
sure.
smart, right? Or they're not working hard at the right thing. Um, so that's really what it comes down to. So yeah.
Let me ask you this, and this I'm trying my best to kind of speed this up, just because I don't want to take up too much of your time, man. I know you're busy, and I'm just grateful for you to be able to do this. But
No, you're good, man.
we talked about your definition of failure. What is your
Yeah.
definition of success?
Um, I think for me personally, just it's gonna be being able to do what I want on the daily, knowing that I'm taken care of. I don't have to stress about, food or putting a roof over my head and stuff. But I guess it's really success is like just being able to take care of yourself, your family, and you know, enjoy what you want to do. I personally think that you shouldn't really, even though I say that you shouldn't really follow your passions. You should follow what makes money first, and then
Mhm.
get to yourself to a position where you're good and you're financially stable, and then start working on your passion. But success, overall success, yeah, I think just being happy, enjoying your life, and not needing to stress about um just like situations where you don't know how you're gonna eat, you don't know how you're gonna pay rent next month.
For
It's
sure.
stressful, man. It's stressful
Yeah, it is.
thinking about stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that I've seen my mom or family, stuff like that. That type of stuff stressful. So I guess success, yeah, just being healthy, being able to not worry about that type of stuff, and taking care of my family and stuff. Yeah.
It's crazy you talked about the whole making money first before going for something you're passionate about. Actually,
Yeah.
I think of something that Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank talked about, and he talked about how growing up he wanted to be a photographer and he wanted to
Yep.
be a filmmaker. He actually did a little bit of filmmaking, but when he was about to go to college, he talked to his, I don't know if it's his dad or stepdad, and he said, "Do I should I go for business or should I go for photography and all that stuff?" And his dad said, "Go for business because,
Hmm.
you know, trust me, make some money. And when you get older, you'll be able to, you know, do your passion." And
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
like, "I'm so glad I did that because now I do whatever I want. I do my passion now."
Yeah.
He's
Exactly.
opening up. he's opening up photography galleries. He literally has every camera he can think of, the Leicas, the Hasselblads, all that stuff, the crazy ones that like I'm still trying to get, like, I mean, I have a nice camera, but it ain't a Leica. But I'm just kind of like, dang, that's crazy. So it's interesting you talk about that. Let me ask you this. I know what you have an agency, which is about websites and web design. Is this your passion, or is there a passion that's coming after this?
My passion is business, honestly, but it
Mhm.
just so happens to make money as well.
Yeah.
I like the web design process, don't get me wrong, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's my passion.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know exactly what my actual like passion, like, be able to hard pin it. Like, some people are really into art, or some people are like photography and stuff like that. Um, I just like the process of making a business, making money. Um, so yeah, I think it just worked out for me. But, you know, if I didn't like websites, but I came across it and I realized how much money can make, I would just do it first, and then, get myself to a certain point, and then, do what I'm passionate about, because you're not stressing about, money, or your next, income, or your paycheck and stuff like that.
You're a true entrepreneur,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like,
huh?
as soon as I was able to start handing off the actual web design and development work and just focus on the business side of things, like I did it as soon as possible. Just because that's what I like. I like to do the sales and sales calls, and then, the actual business and stuff like that. I don't know. That to me is fun. So like I said, I got lucky that that's my passion, is like
Yeah.
making a business. I used to try to think of businesses that I was passionate about, or like things to make a business of that I was passionate about. But then, just realized that I like just business. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what I'm selling, as long as it's able to be sold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not like a money hungry person, but, like I said, you just got to get to yourself to a point where you're good, your family's good, and then, start working on whatever you want to do that's you're passionate about.
So would you say you're like passionate about the grind?
Um, I'm passionate about the lifestyle that this business has done for me. Like,
Hmm.
wake up whenever. I don't really, I work for maybe a couple hours a day, and then I just chill, or I
That's
just hang
awesome.
out, play video games all day if I want to. You know what I mean? Um, it wasn't like that, before, but that's what I'm passionate about. And then I'm starting to get to a point now where I'm passionate about really growing like a big company.
Mhm.
Not like, maybe like, not like a Fortune 500 or $40,000 or 1,000 company, but like, millions of dollars and stuff. And not
For
just,
sure.
having it to a point where, I can pay my bills and, go out here and there and stuff, but
Yeah.
actually just like build a nice big business. You know what I mean? That's what I'm starting to get into a little bit more.
So you're passionate about freedom, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. I think that's why, I like the money part of it, right? Because I don't really like money, but I like what it can provide for me.
For
I
sure.
like that it can provide, peace of mind. I like that it can provide health. I've reinvested the money I've made into a personal trainer, into good food, vitamins, stuff like that. Um, and yeah, just being able to, knock out a few calls, or, meetings or whatever, and then just play video games all day if I want to, or,
That's awesome.
travel, if I want to, you know what I mean? Without having to stress too much about it. Yeah, that's what I like. Yeah.
What game you playing right now?
Elden Ring.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Yo, let me ask you this actually, because I saw that you have your trainer. It's actually pretty far from you.
Yeah.
Is this a move? Because like, is that like a more expensive gym so you could network with people?
No, that's actually something I've thought about, though,
Uh-huh.
getting into these expensive type places or
Yeah.
memberships, to be able to connect with these type of people. But no, just my girlfriend was going to him before, because that's her cousin, or yeah, her cousin's boyfriend. He's a personal
Oh,
trainer.
okay. Got
And
it.
so it just kind of happened to be like, oh, he's really good. You should start going with him. And I'm like, all right. And so I started going. But yeah, I wouldn't say just because of the networking opportunities, but I've definitely thought about it, like going to like Equinox, or like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this like high end gym and stuff, um, that only like a certain type of person can access, just because, yeah, of those networking opportunities. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. If you can afford it, I would recommend doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw that in TikTok. That's why I was just like, oh, there we go. Yeah, I thought about that. I thought
Mhm.
you were doing that, to be honest with you, man. I was like, yo, why is this gym so far? I'm like,
My
dude,
gym's
maybe he's
far,
doing that
bro. Yeah, that's
for
annoying.
real. But
Yeah.
hey, respect though, man. I saw you lifting like a couple videos. I'm passionate about working out. So if one of these days you want to work out, I'm down. You know,
I'm down.
is it like a set that he created, or are you doing some sort of set you saw online?
No, yeah, he tells me what to do every time.
For man, I'd love to have a trainer. To be honest with you, actually, when you
I like
said
it a
that,
lot
I
more than working out by myself. You know.
yeah, it's so much more fun. That's what killed me in working out is it got to the point that I didn't want to work out by myself, and
Hmm.
then I was just bored, dude. Like I was doing
Yeah.
the Arnold PR, and I'm talking an hour workout, and I was just it wasn't even tiring, it wasn't burning, it was just, dude, I'm doing this. It's just boring, to be
Yeah, yeah,
honest. But yeah, but
yeah. It's good
man,
to have
that's
someone
that.
that's like a accountability partner, and then you don't like not know what to do. A lot of times, I think people in the beginning they just don't know what to do, so they kind of get like
Yeah,
overwhelmed and then not
for
really
sure.
stop going and stuff. So it's been good that he's been able to just tell me, and my results have been really, really good. It's only been 5 months. I don't know if you saw my recent Instagram
Yeah,
post,
dude.
but yeah, it's been pretty crazy results so far. I've never been in shape like that in my life. Um, high school I was super skinny, like bad skinny, and then after the next couple of years after high school, I got like pretty big. I was like 200 pounds of just like just fat and stuff, and then now I'm in the best shape of my life so far. And it's only been 5 months.
Hey, that probably helped gain muscle then, gaining the
Yeah, yeah,
fat.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. Lose the fat. Yeah,
I know a lot of skinny people, they have a hard time gaining muscle, bro. Like they're just
I used
like,
to be like
yo, I
that,
can't gain
but
weight.
I my age affected it.
Yeah,
So
see, that's what I
as
say
you get
all the
older,
time.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm like,
I
bro, you're
swear
skinny now.
I used to never believe that I would gain weight. And then
Yeah,
like my girlfriend, my mom were like, just wait till you get a little older, just wait till you get a little older.
yeah.
And finally, yeah.
Dude, man, it's so hard to lose weight right now. It's hard to lose fat. It's so hard, man. Because I'm 31
Yeah.
now. Oh man, dude, like that's my
Your
biggest
diet's
regret
90% of it, man.
for
Your diet's
sure.
90% of it. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I was like I started gaining some muscle and stuff, but I didn't really start cutting down on my weight. I lost like 20 pounds, 15 pounds.
Yeah,
Sometimes it fluctuates. But that didn't start happening until I started kind of taking my diet seriously. And so that's like literally 90% of it. Yeah.
for sure. I'll end with this question. What are some regrets growing up that, because you kind of said something about regret, what are some regrets growing up that you could wish as you're older now, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna make sure I don't do that, or I wish I didn't do that. And as a young person that may be listening to this, be like, you know what, you shouldn't do that. And it could be working out too, but it could be, anything else as far as like mainly about like business and life and success and anything like that.
Um, I'd say I don't think I really have any like serious like regrets and stuff. Probably just acting, dumb with my girlfriend and stuff, but um, like just messing up our relationship over the last like 5 years, just
Mm-hmm.
thinking stupid. Um, I'll say probably that, but then everything else, I just had to figure out and learn. Maybe I just wish I didn't act so dumb when I was little, or as I was a kid in high school, middle school, and stuff. Um, just because like sometimes people always think of you when you were in high school, especially
Mm-hmm.
like like so they kind of just have that mindset of you. It's like, oh, he's a dumb guy or like something like that. But then they don't know what I'm doing now. They don't know my
Yeah,
new mindset, my new information, intelligence, stuff like that. So um, probably that. But what can you do? Can't go back. So I try not to think of stuff like that or regrets or anything like that because you know you just
for
part
sure.
of the journey. You got to learn about stuff and grow.
For sure. Well, you know what? Actually, just reminded me of a question. I'm sorry if I asked this like kind of last
There
year,
you go.
but when you started your agency, was there a lot of pushback from people, especially like people that are close to you that kind of know you? Because you talked about the image that was created of you. Were they like,
Yeah.
come on, man, you can't start an agency, a website agency? Like, do you even know what you're doing? Was there a lot of that going on?
There wasn't anything like specific like that where it's like, oh, don't you can't start an agency, but um, yeah, I've had a lot of business ideas, a lot of phases where I wanted to do like music, and then I quit, or I want to do this business, I quit. So my family kind of got to a point where it's like anything I brought up or said that I wanted to do, they're kind of like eye roll. You know what I mean? Because I just
Mhm.
assumed I was going to quit. Um, Definitely had a lot of pushback where, things weren't going so well. I was told just to get a job. Um, definitely a lot of that. And I'm kind of thinking I was just going to be, a bum. Um, but then, it's kind of the same thing as the teachers and stuff, where it's like, bro, I was young. I was 18,
Yeah.
19, 20 years old. Um, like just give me some time, bro. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure.
So yeah, definitely faced a lot of it. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't specific to like, oh, you can't start a web agency, but they thought it was just gonna be a phase for a while, and then eventually it got to a point where it started working out, and then now they're starting to realize that it's actually like a legit thing, and making some serious money and stuff. So yeah,
For sure. Well, thanks again for doing this, man. You said you did music. What music?
rap.
Oh, for real? You tried to rap or
Yeah,
what?
I tried to rap, and after that didn't work out. I tried to make beats, and then I was a little bit better at that, but I just stopped doing
I'll beatbox for you if you want me to. I mean, not right. I mean,
it.
if you want me to right now, I can. But I don't know. I'm kind of rusty at it. If you ever rap one of these days, I got you, man. You know. Well, thanks again, man. If you got anything to plug, go ahead and give that right now. And yeah,
Um, yeah, I guess if you need a website, you got a good sized company, you need a website, ammo.studio. Hit me up at Diego@ammo.studio. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the one Diego Diaz. And yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on here.
what's up, guys? Thank you so much for watching the Failed Podcast. And if you would do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram at James Abrot and on Twitter at James_Abrot1030. Until next time, in the words of Jerry White, I'm out.